So how is this pronounced? Ekemit, so was it Ekemi? Kemi? Depend-
So instead of knife, it's nine.
Nine. Oh, nine. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of knife, it's
Okay.
nine.
Nine.
Yes.
Nine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good everyone, and welcome to another Power BI learning community session. So today we're having a different topic. It's not about Power BI or Power Platform, but we're having about knives. So Maya's going to give us a quick introduction into knife. What is it, and probably how you can use it as well in data analysis. So the Microsoft Power BI learning community is being brought to you by UrBizEdge and being sponsored by Enterprise DNA. And Enterprise DNA is a platform where you can learn all about Power BI. You can get a membership. You can either meet us, we have coupons, or you could also register on their website to get their membership, which gives you access to their learning platforms, their meetups, their events, and their forums as well. Then your business is a Microsoft consulting, financial modeling, business intelligence, and enterprise solution firm in Nigeria, and they specialize in helping companies and high value professionals be on top of their business data. They're also the first MVP and also the developer of the Nigeria stock analysis dashboard, as well as the only Nigeria financial markets tools in the Nigeria office, in the Microsoft Office store. Sorry. So today our guest speaker is Marian, and she's a certified data analyst with significant experience in solving business problems with data-driven solution. She also graduated with decision in data analysis and works in a global public health space. And she is passionate about human capital development, and she has coached over 500 data analysts in the tech community as well. So, hello, Maria.
Hi, Benny. So hi everyone. Before we get started, I want to say that it's amazing how much progress I've made in my career. As at the time I sent you my bio, a lot has changed. So I no longer work in public health. For anyone who would want to contact me about public health, I am no longer in that space. I now work in luxury fashion. Yes, at the time as well, I just finished my master's degree. So other achievements, I wrote a research paper. I like to put that in my bio now as opposed to my distinction. But yes, progress, not perfection. So today, I wanted to give the members of the UB's Edge community a good introduction to KNIME. I'm bringing KNIME to this community in particular because I know that even for myself as a data analyst that works extensively with Microsoft Power BI, there are moments where I wish I could automate my data cleaning, data wrangling processes. I also know that for a lot of people, the biggest barrier with analytics is the fear of coding or programming. So whether you're coding in SQL or you're writing a programming language like Python, people tend to shy away from these things because it kind of takes away the time that they want to use in solving actual problems. So a quick introduction to KNIME. Benny, I'm going to share my screen now in hopes that nothing goes wrong. We should have tested this, but okay. Okay, screen one and
Yes. Yes.
so quick. Sorry.
Your screen is visible. I can see it.
Yeah.
I go
Okay.
on.
Okay. So let me just switch to slideshow and okay. So before we get started about KNIME and all the exciting things I want to share with everyone, I wanted us to do a little bit of housekeeping. So the agenda for today, I'm just going to give a good introduction to KNIME for 45 minutes. And I know a lot of you will have questions after those 45 minutes. So I will set a timer on my device. So Benny, you can set a timer to inform me when it's 45 minutes.
Okay.
So I can take questions for 15 minutes. In the meantime, whilst I'm presenting, you can please leave your questions in the chat so that we don't get any like breaking transmissions. As you know, the session is recorded and available on YouTube. I will have the slides to this presentation to UBizEdge and also post it to the KNIME forum. The example workflow will be available in KNIME Hub. And you can, let me just move this little body away. You can scan this QR code It's a link to a Twitter thread I created at the start of October to provide all the KNIME resources you need to get started. So it even includes self-paced courses, our community in Nigeria. The link also contains free textbooks. Everybody loves free resources. Free textbooks that you can use with a promo code to access them. It also includes just all our plans for the African community. And also on the screen, you can see my a direct link to my contact information. So if you need to contact me or talk about KNIME, it doesn't have to be about KNIME. I have an array of skills. So if you want to talk to me about anything analytics, you can contact me through my contact page on my website. So what is KNIME? 1 second. Okay. So KNIME is a tool for data analytics, manipulation, visualization, and reporting. It's a GUI-based tool, so it's like a graphical interface, and then it has extensions that allow for data mining, text mining, some machine learning workflows. And as you would see later, I would show you in a live demo the things that KNIME does. But I think the more important thing is why KNIME above all other tools. There are a couple of things that come to mind. The first is, like I said earlier, coding and programming tend to be a barrier for a lot of analysts in terms of solving problems. So with KNIME, we kind of take away the coding problem, and it's a low-code tool. So instead of having to worry so much about learning syntaxes or even looking for syntax errors, you can do a node-based analytics solution. So as you can see on the screen here, we have nodes connecting to one another and outputting to a solution or like an analytic step. So visually with KNIME, we have nodes, and the nodes perform tasks. The way the kind of flow of work is that when you input some information, let's say, for example, here you're connecting to an Excel file and you're trying to do maybe a data mining activity, you would see that you have a data partition here. But not only that, it says, how do you know if your process is executed or it's properly done? Here you would see red is if it's not configured. So if you've not set the parameters for this partitioning, if it's configured, you have an amber, which means you've set the parameters for partitioning. And then when you execute, if the process is done and it's successful, you get a green. If there's an error, you get a red error sign, like no-go area. But not only that, also these two arrows here kind of output your successful execution. So an example here is you have an Excel file that is reading airline data. You can do a statistic, so you can do maybe just what do you call it now? Data profiling. So you can do a data profiling here using the statistics node to know mean, median, mode, standard deviation, skewness, curtis, things like that. And then from here, you can do like a color manager, partition your data. You can have a bar chart for the partition, one end of the partition data, and then the other side, you can have a decision tree. And it continues like that. You can have a decision tree predictor. You can have a score. You can have a scatter plot. Now, every step that you take in KNIME is based on a predefined outcome. So let's say, for example, in this case, you want to use a decision tree to predict, I'm not a data scientist, so I'm talking based on my shallow knowledge of data science, but you want to use like a decision tree to do like a model prediction or something like that. And you can get like the score, like in terms of performance. So, also, with KNIME, it's not just for data scientists. So like I said earlier, KNIME also caters to data analysts, data engineers, and data scientists. So you can access a database from KNIME. You don't have to access only only CSV files or Excel files. These are all the file types that you can access. You can access a database, you can access files, different files, access. You can even go as far as accessing like SAS, SPSS. For a lot of people in the Nigerian data community, a lot of projects that I have seen people work on is around Twitter and Google Analytics. So you can also have those as your data access. You can also access like the cloud computing solution. So if you have your data in the cloud, Amazon S3 buckets or an Azure Blob, SharePoint, anything. So whatever data connectors that you have, you can access them through KNIME. And we can also do big data processing. So for big data, I think this is more where I sit because I use KNIME more for data engineering work, ETL processes. So for instance, if you're looking at this workflow, you can load and pre-process data in our Hadoop. So here, okay, here, so we have access to Hive, and then we select a database, and then again, we select another database, and then we do a grouping and we can join. So there's multiple things you can do with KNIME. We can also do data transformation. So depending on how complex your data transformation steps are, you can do them in KNIME. Again, low code, no writing. If you want to, I try not to give too many glossy approaches to KNIME. So it's not a situation where you cannot write code in KNIME, and I will get to that later. But the idea is for you to have a graphical tool that allows you to do your processes without having to write code. And also here we have analysis and data mining. So you can do like a output where you have regression, classification, clustering, validation, deep learning, and you can also connect to external tools. So for instance, within KNIME, we have a Python integration. So if you have a Python script that you wanted to execute in the process of any of your analytics step, you can also bring those Python scripts into KNIME and do your integrations. We also have visualization. So I know people love visualization. We have the tag clouds, we have table view, we have Python view, scatter plots. There's also a bar chart node. There is a line chart node. So there are many nodes for visualizing your data. And then we have the JavaScript-based nodes, so like the scatterplot, box plot, line plots, plot line integration, networks, ROC curve, decision trees, things like that are JavaScript-based. And then we have the script-based for R and Python. So the one I really like, I forgot to mention, is the strict map. So sometimes if you want to do geo-coded analysis where you want to see like the output as a map, KNIME also has integrations for that. So deployment, this is a big one for a lot of people. How do you productionalize your analytics process? How do you deploy? So we have nodes for that as well. You can deploy as files, you can deploy to a database, you can also deploy to like a reporting solution. A use case that I have seen a lot of people do is they will have maybe data in one database or from one data source. They will connect it into KNIME, do all the data pre-processing, cleaning, data wrangling, and then they will deploy to an S3 bucket or even KNIME server. I'll talk about KNIME server later. They can even deploy to like Azure Blob Store or just a cloud computing based blob store. And so for KNIME server, it serves as how do I explain it in good terms now? It's more like the underground engine. It's not everyone that uses KNIME server, but a good use case would be, for example, if you set up your ETL process within KNIME and you wanted to trigger it maybe every 2 hours or every 4 hours, you could use KNIME server to make that definition. I also forgot to mention at the beginning, forgive me, KNIME is completely open source and it's free. So you can download KNIME today on your computer free. You don't have to pay for anything. And the good thing with open source tools is that you can also contribute to the tool. So you can maybe, for example, you're using a particular node and you notice that maybe there's a step that ideally should be involved in order to make the process easier. You can build a node and then suggest it to KNIME, or you can at the same time maybe just build a workflow that will be beneficial to other members of the KNIME community and post to the KNIME hub, and people will download your nodes as well. So that's the beauty of open source here. So altogether within KNIME, we have 400,000 native and embedded nodes that cut across data access, transformation, analyzing and data mining, visualization, deployment, and just on top of the data access path is also the connection to big data. So how do you install KNIME? KNIME is available on Mac, Windows, and Linux. Like I said earlier, it's free. And these files are not heavy files, so it's not taking a lot of space on your local machine. The link to download KNIME, I would also make it available. But once you click on KNIME.com, it's usually the first thing you see, install KNIME or download KNIME. And so getting started, you would just need to load the package, or I don't know if I said it correctly, but you would just need to launch the KNIME.exe file, and then it will do all the rest of the setup itself. So let's go into KNIME now and see what KNIME looks like. So 1 second. Okay, so this is KNIME Analytics platform. Can you still see my screen clearly?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So this is KNIME Analytics platform. The first thing, okay, you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So the first thing you would notice when you open KNIME Analytics platform is because it's a tool that really considers you, the user, as a person who would continuously need to like your community. We want you to be up to date with everything that's happening around KNIME. The first thing you would see on each page is a blog post, tips and tricks, and events. So every month, KNIME has an event. Most of the events are online, so you don't have to worry about like commuting to the events. A lot of the events are also recorded, so if you miss an event, you can watch it again. For the tips and tricks, these usually are maybe suggestions or just tips that KNIME thinks will make things easier for you. For example, this particular tip and trick is about manually entering data. So it says if you want to add data on the fly, you can use the table creator node, and you can read about it. You can implement that as well. For the blog, also, they would give like a good use case that maybe someone in the community or companies are using KNIME for. So for example, it says here, how a marketer builds a data app, no code required. So it says, find out my experiences of building my first workflow for marketing analytics, and it was more helpful than Google Analytics. That's a very encouraging one. So just a quick view of the panes. 1 second. So I have most of my panes tucked in because I like to have big real estate. My eyesight is not the best. But when you open KNIME Analytics platform, there are 3 workspaces within. This is called KNIME Explorer. There's the first tab. The first thing you will notice are the workspaces. So you have KNIME Hub. KNIME Hub is like the place where people put their workflows. So you can either have your workflow to be public or private. If I double click here, I would have access to my KNIME Hub, and it would fetch content. So within my KNIME Hub, I have posted general public workflows that I have. I have posted some workflows that are within my workspace and I want other people in KNIME to see. And then I have a private hub where I have workflows that I want to be on KNIME Hub because I don't want to have to save on my personal computer, but I don't want other people to have access to it. Also here, KNIME has I think over 50 workflow examples and different business cases. So if you had a business case, let's say, for example, you wanted to do visualization and you wanted to see a KNIME workflow that has to do with visualization or geolocation, You can just click any one. Let's say dynamic geolocation of IP address. It's loading. But let me just go ahead whilst it's loading. I can just, okay. Yeah, so I can just open it and I can see an example workflow. This is also another workflow here about FIFA World Cup. So depending on whatever use case you have, let's say, for example, as well, let's say you just wanted to see what can KNIME do. Yes, okay. Let's say you want to see what can KNIME do. Okay, so this is the workflow here. So again, I will get to this, but if you just wanted to see from the workflow explorer, the example workflows, what have people done with KNIME, and you wanted to use that, sorry, it's asking me to install an extension. So 1 second, I accept, finish, and I can minimize. Okay, so let's say you want to see examples of what people have done in the past. No. So let's say you want to see example of what people have done in the past. These are big data connectors. So you can see workflows that have to do with Hadoop, workflows that have to do with Google, Databricks, Apache Databricks. Nope. Okay, so this is like an HDFS workflow, for example. They're connecting to a local environment, doing like Excel. So in this workflow, they're trying to upload a file to an HDFS file system. And here they're trying to download a file from HDFS file system. So they will give you example workflows that can help you get started. There's so many examples, honestly, but I understand that just looking at a bunch of cubes and lines connecting is not a very easy way to understand KNIME. So just please take everything I'm showing you just as an overview of the tool. We have beginner courses and things to help you get started. The workflow coach here is a community-based algorithm that helps you understand. So if you were working on, let's say, for example, CSV writer, you've connected this node and then you were wondering what is the next node you should try for your use case. The workflow coach will suggest something to you based on what other community members have used. And then this is a node repository. So I'm just going to drag this up. In the node repository, we have all the nodes that are available with KNIME. The IO has all the file reader, file writers, the connectors. So here you have all the connectors, for instance. I know a lot of people are interested in cloud computing, so things around AWS connector, things like that you would find here. And some other, you can play around with them. If you wanted to manipulate data, maybe you wanted to bind, you wanted to bin a column, or you wanted to split a column, combine, transform, anything that has to do with data transformation, you would find under the manipulation node. We have the views node as well, where you would find, like when I was talking about bar chart, pie chart, so the views node is more like visualizations, but yeah, views. We also have analytics node. So this is when this analytics part is more data science nodes. So around mining. So you would see decision trees, neural network, rule induction, PCA, things like that. And then this is a DB node. Again, you would find connectors to database. So DB is database. You would find connectors to databases. You would find also like how to query a database. And this is very good for also people who are trying to get along with SQL. It's not as easy as you hoped it will be, but you want to be able to scale and do your tasks. You can use KNIME to connect to your database, fetch your data, and then make that data available in Power BI as a data set or any other tool that you want. In another session, hopefully I can come back and show you a use case where you can connect to your database and then extract the data and just work with it as a data set in Power BI. I can do a rough demo today, but time is not really on our side. You can also write to your database. So let's say you cleaned, for example, and then you wanted to post to your database, you can do that as well. There are other nodes, so other data types. These are text mining, time series, web logs. There are scripting nodes. So we have Conda, Java, Python, and R. And yes, let me see. So there's also social media now. So you can connect to Google APIs and Twitter APIs from KNIME and do your sentiment analysis and other like analysis that you would do with Google and Twitter. There's a reporting, so data to report. You can do this, usually helps with Power BI as well. Let me show you. So you can also send data to Power BI. You can have like a Power BI web service and then send your data sets to Power BI from KNIME. So the other thing, this is like the right pane now. So I'm just going to minimize the left panes. On the right here, we have HDFS. So if you recall, I opened this node as an example, and we have this description here. So it tells us the description of the workflow, what the workflow does. And this is very good for people who collaborate a lot. So if you end up using KNIME and you're using it within a team, you can write a description of the workflow. So the next person that handles it knows your thought process or the scope of work. So it says this workflow demonstrates HDFS file handling capabilities using the file handling nodes in conjunction with HDFS connection to run this workflow on a remote cluster. So, you know, and then you can specify the requirement, the setup, and give it tags as well. This is very good for like enterprise use cases with KNIME. Also here we have the outline. So right now my screen is like a bit, I've tucked some things in, but if you had everything open and you wanted to be able to see what part of your data things are, you can use this outline to scroll from left to right and just see your entire workflow from like this small cube, or you can talk and just minimize like the pane so you can see things easily. And then here we have console node monitor progress error log. So if you have an error, you can read the reason for the error in the error log. If there's a progress, maybe you do an operation and it's running, it can tell you from time to time what has been executed. If you have this node monitor also monitors the nodes, and then in the console, you can also get like a full description of the errors as well, or anything that's executed. And then finally, we have KNIME Hub. So what is KNIME Hub? KNIME Hub is a place where you can find workflows, nodes, components, and collaborating spaces. So if you remember the other time when I was here, I was saying that I have my workflow, no, not here. I said I had my workflow here, saved in KNIME Hub. And these are some of the projects that I made public. So challenge 8, challenge 2, week 1. But I also have a private like hub, and I also have like general workflows that other people have shared and I can see publicly. So within KNIME Hub, you can share workflows. You can see other people's workflows. You can save your workflow as well. So I'll just show you an example. Right now we have 12,436 workflows. And remember, I was talking about Twitter API. So this is a REST API use case for sentiment analysis. This is the entire workflow. There's a JSON file in a container. You're pre-processing the data, reading it, doing a rule engine, and then outputting. So there's so many things you can do with KNIME. So many, and all of these workflows are properly annotated as well. So if, for instance, you wanted to do something around ETL with KNIME and you wanted to see what kind of workflows are available, you would see example workflow for KNIME basic operations, so many examples, data blending and ETL. You can just see what other people have done, how they did it step by step, replicate until you get familiar with KNIME. But so how do you get started with KNIME? I think that's like the biggest thing I get from people. How do I get started? So there are three ways that KNIME suggests to get started. The first is the self-paced courses. So with the self-paced courses, we have 4 levels: basic, I won't really call level 2 advanced, but okay, advanced, level 3 deployment, level 4 specialized. So what the self-paced courses looks like is that they're hour-long trainings, hands-on exercises, knowledge check questions with videos that you can watch to get started with KNIME. The beauty of this is that it focuses on what you want to know. So we understand that some people are on the data science learning path and other people are on like the data engineering, data wrangling learning path. So the L1 data science is geared towards data scientists. So this is a beginner. The L1 is for beginners. So you can do this course. Or if you see yourself using KNIME more for data wrangling, like I do, data transformation, just things around big data, you might want to start with KNIME for data wranglers. So here you would learn data access, data cleaning, bringing things together, tips and tricks. And then when you progress from here, you can then, again, if you're a data scientist, you can go through this route, or you can come my route, which is visualization, data export, workflow abstraction, loops, and a brief introduction to data science, because us data analysts and engineers still need to know some parts of data science. And then level 3 is something that everyone needs. So we are in the era of automation and deployment, collaboration and management. So KNIME is a very good tool for integrating with like your version control elements of your business. So currently I orchestrate my KNIME, and also it's fully connected to like my GitHub. So if I'm collaborating with other people, like they can see what I'm working on and I can see what they're working on as well. So this part of the course really helps you to understand how to collaborate, productionize your KNIME workflows and automate your processes. And then the fourth one is about just machine learning algorithms and text processing. So most people don't get to this point for some reason, and I'm hoping that now that I have started the KNIME community in Africa, we can get to level 4. A lot of people in KNIME stop at level 3. But again, for me, this is where you would find me: Introduction to Big Data Analytics with KNIME Platform, level 4. So things around Hadoop, big data. So if you wanted to just enroll, again, these links are in the QR code, and I will send the slides as well after this presentation. So you could just log in. Let me show you what KNIME Analytics platform, the self-paced learning looks like. So here's the self-paced learning path. You can choose anyone. So let's imagine today everyone on the call is on the path to becoming data engineers or data analysts. You would pick the L1 DW, and then it will tell you there are 20 models. It's a basic, the expected length is 8 hours, but you don't have to do it in 8 hours. And you can just see like a description of everything you will be learning. And also you can see like the course content, each one, how to clean data, how to aggregate and blend data, exercises, visualizations. You would also learn about date and time databases. And for each one, if you notice, there's like a knowledge check, so like a quick exam that you can do. All of these courses are also hands-on. So as you're learning, you're able to practice, which is great because we want people who are able to build projects end-to-end in KNIME. And then after this, you can just click on start, for instance. I know I started one. Yeah, you can click on start and you can just follow the courses, follow along, follow like, so you can like come here, next module. You would see like an exam. You can see all the details made available to you. You don't have to look for data because they make data available to you as well. Another really great thing about KNIME is whilst you're learning, we have the KNIME forum. So let me open the KNIME forum and share with you. So here in the KNIME forum, we get to ask questions, make friends, join challenges, and also identify active members. Like I said, KNIME is open source. So we appreciate contributors, and we have like a contributor hall of fame. Also from this contributor hall of fame, you can get like support from the community. People, if you release maybe something and other people like, they can promote it for you. So here you could just see all the categories of the forum. If you have a question, let's say for example you're working on a project and you want to ask questions, you can just do KNIME Analytics platform, add a new topic, post your question, and it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or advanced. I find that within 4 hours maximum, someone is available to answer my questions. So that's a really good thing. Like just see, for example, this person posted 2 hours ago, right? It has 28 views and 5 people have attempted to answer the question. So that's how supportive the KNIME community is. Also, I was talking about free books. So these are the books that we have. For beginners and people that are just starting, we always recommend KNIME Beginner's Lock. It's meant to be 19.95 euros, but today I have promo codes. It's also in the link I provided, but it's also in the slides. So Data First Africa 2022 is the promo code to get access to the Beginner's Lock. And so what if the self-paced learning and the books are not enough? We have a KNIME user community on Meetup. So let me just show you. I was almost sure I had this open. Forgive me. Okay. Oops. Okay, so we have the Lagos KNIME users. We're currently 121 members. We would love to have you. My goal as the community ambassador for KNIME in Africa is to bring KNIME's Data Connect to Africa. So Data Connect is a hybrid event where we have people join online and in person. We have people from KNIME and other KNIME experts come and address. We have people from KNIME and other experts come and address like members. We also give tasks and we also share opportunities. So if there are maybe job opportunities for experts within our communities, we let them know about it. So this is the community. We'll be waiting to see your beautiful face in one of these circles. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget anything. Okay, yes, and I also have this link on the QR code, which helps you set your path on how you want to get started. So if you're a data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, we can give you a direct path. Now, before I go, I wanted to do Benny, how many more minutes do I have?
You can do like maybe 20. 20 is
Oh
okay,
wow.
right?
Okay, all right, okay. Okay,
But
so
you have 2 questions. So I guess after your demo, we can go with the questions.
yes, I will answer all questions after my demo. So now let's do okay, 1 second. Okay, so let me show you an example workflow. I demoed this at DataFest and I just wanted to share. So some people were not able to attend my session. So just an example scenario, if we wanted to clean up data from a location and then post to KNIME, unfortunately, my Azure credentials might not work today. I'm still working on that. I'm not quite sure what's happening with that, but I will figure it out soon. But please come with me. Let's test KNIME. Okay, so this workflow is a scenario where a company has their customer data stored in Excel files. So they have the customer name and email. And now they have a blob storage in Azure where they have full customer information. So they want the CRM manager has reached out to them to say, I want to be able to map my customer information in the Excel file with the customer information in Azure Blob to know if I have for every customer a way to contact them. The ones we don't have a way to contact them, I want to receive an email to say we don't have a way to contact them, right? So here, these steps here where you create a table variable creator is not everybody does it, but it's just my just to create a variable for each entry. So for each customer, we would have a variable, right? And anything in red is called a flow variable. So the variables will flow from one node to another. Now, you see these cubes here that have no color. And then I have like extract, transform, load. The extract step, this cube is called a component. So what is a component? A component is a package of nodes. So you can share a component with someone else. You can also, this component, for example, is, how do you call it now? I'm looking for the right word, forgive me. It's scalable. So you can use it for another workflow, which means that maybe from each step is something that is replicable for different processes, right? So I have this component, I can open it. And then when I open the component, I can see other nodes here. So from that component where I had a variable, I have connected my variable here. So sorry, this is an error. Okay, so here I have my components. My flow variable looks for my Azure credentials. Now, remember I said that my data is stored in an Azure Blob storage. So which means that I need to connect to Azure Blob storage. I'm not sure if everyone here is familiar with what do you call it now? I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with storage in the cloud or like credentials and things like that. But one of the good things about KNIME is that you can set your credentials ahead before you connect to any of the nodes. There are two reasons. The first is for security and privacy. So now that I have my credentials configured here, it's loading. You can only see the email, you cannot see the password. And I know this is the credential for this Azure account, right? If I wanted to do maybe extract multiple files from this Azure account, I don't have to put in these credentials individually anymore. I already have it here. The other thing is I can close this password, right? I can encrypt it in a way that you won't be able to see either the username or passwords. It's just personal to me. So every time I run my script, it will ask me for my credentials. That way, someone who shouldn't have access to my credentials does not get them, right? So I'm going to cancel this. So we have these credentials. And then this is a node to connect to Azure, to connect to Microsoft. So in this case, I'm connecting to an Azure storage only. There are instances where you would want to connect to shared access signature authentication in Azure storage. So you have to pick your way of connecting, but there are multiple ways. You can also use like the credentials that we had before to connect, but the name of my Azure account is Data First, and then I put my security key based on shared key authentication. So, okay. I'm hoping it will run. If it does not, technology is not on my side. Sorry, it's not running. I don't know, I'm not quite sure what's happening with my Azure account, but it's not KNIME's fault, it's Azure's fault. So anyway, moving on from here, I can connect to my blob storage and find exactly where my customer data is. So I have all my customers here and I can read the CSV file. If I look at the output, I can see this is the data that I have in Azure now. I have accessed it. So I can see my customer, their IDs, their names, their date of birth, their country, their emails, their city, gender. We have some information about their estimate, and then we want to know if we can contact them via newsletters. And then also, we have the CSV file that is local on our device. Remember, our use case is to make sure that the data we have coming from here joins here, and anywhere where we don't have customer information, we receive an email, the CRM manager receives an email. So here also we have another table with just the customer's ID and emails. Okay, so now because we came into this variable through this component, we will come out again through a component. So now we've done the extraction, we've gotten our data. The next step for ETL, as we all know, is to transform the data. So here, open. All right, so we want to have one customer for one customer. So we have to remove all duplicates, right? So we've removed all duplicates from our Azure file, and now we've joined the data together on their IDs. So this is a join result. I'm going to show you something. Just wanted to show you the output. So now we've done a join on ID, and then we get this information. But also, I wanted to show, so there are people who do not like SQL because they get confused what is inner join or after join. With KNIME, you can do inner join, which is matching rows. You can do left join, and you can do right join. When you do this join, you can see the outputs to see if that's the kind of data that you want. If it's not, you come back into this node and reconfigure it. So it's faster in the sense that you don't have to write the code and then see an output. You're like, no, that's not what I want. You can preview, excuse me, you can preview the output of your joins before you do the next step. So that's it. And then here, I just changed my their birthdays to date and time. I did a time difference. And then I said that anywhere where there's a missing value, you should convert it to a 0, right? Like I said, I hope I can come back for another session to more show you in more depth what we can do with KNIME. And then we can load the data. So in this case, we're saying that for clients where we have their full data, we should load it into a Postgre database. Or we can even load it into SQL Server DB, so like a data warehouse. But for those we don't have their information, we want to continue to output it to a component. So here, again, the joint data, we're saying for the ones that we have their information, here, post it to a database and insert the information into the database, and then close the database after. So save their name in that data warehouse or database. In this case, it's called SQL DB, but when you put your credentials and you put it for your data warehouse, it will post your information to the data warehouse. Or you can have the data set. So in this case now, we know that some data sets have emails and some others don't. We can make this a data set for Power BI, push to Power BI, right? And then from Power BI, we can do maybe an analysis to see number of clients with data. But this is a very small use case. There are use cases where you can post multiple information as a data set for Power BI after cleaning in KNIME. The same is for Tableau. You can also send your data to Tableau just as you would send to KNIME. There is also an Excel connector. So if you wanted to output it as an Excel file, you can do that. But from here, we're saying for the ones that we did not receive data, or there's no email to contact the customer, output the data, right, outside the component. So now we've completed, from here, we've loaded the data to the destination. But so for the people we don't have their information or we don't have their emails, you know, in Python, when you say, you do like an if loop, and then you say if something like keep going in loops, right? So it's as simple here as well, where you say if the answer is 0, then no errors. If it's 1, then error. So 1 will mean that the people who have an email don't send an email, but the people who do not have an email send an email to the manager to inform them that we don't have their data. So this is like an ETL demonstration with KNIME. There are, like I said, so many examples that you can follow. So for instance, if I come back to the KNIME example workflows here, you can see so many examples. If you click on L1, you would even see, if you click on L1 here, you would see examples for beginners. So how to read data. So let me show you one really good example. So data access. So they would give you like a worksheet here and say, okay, read files in the folder using the appropriate nodes, and you have the data here. You can follow step by step from self-paced courses and practice everything you're learning in the self-paced courses. So I'm going to take questions now. I think I have exhausted the introduction that I wanted to give. Where's the page? Hi, Benny.
Yeah,
Hello.
thank you so much for this session. That was actually very insightful. Okay, so there
Thank
are
you.
actually a bunch of questions.
Okay.
Few questions we're like a bit curious about it. Also, one of these questions was the courses. Is it like free?
Yes, all the courses are free. So the only thing you pay for really with KNIME is the certification, and you don't pay for the first one. So as a beginner, you do not pay for the L1 certification. You know what? Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Can you see my screen?
No, not yet.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, okay. So if you come here and you click KNIME certifications, okay. All right, so these are the KNIME certifications. The only certification, so the first certification, whether you're a data scientist or a data engineer or data wrangler, is free. So from those self-paced courses, when you take the courses, you complete them. None of the questions that come out in the certification are outside of those courses. The only thing I will say is it's really important for you to practice, because some questions can look similar. But yeah, so you get this one for free. The second exam, which is the advanced proficiency in KNIME analytics, is also data science data wrangling, but it's more advanced. So you pay $50 for that. The good news is within our communities, people always get free vouchers to write these exams. So if you join our community and you're an active member, we will be able to provide you some vouchers. I really hope that we can, I was talking to the head of evangelism over the weekend, and we're hoping that we can create like a welcome package to all our members in Africa. So hopefully we can add that as like an auto enabled feature for all new members. I've not said I have, oh, Niger people, please. But it's something that I am hoping for, that we can. The L3, like I said, is more collaboration and productionizing, so it's $100. And then there's also this one, server administration. So it's more around APIs, architecture, logs, security. This is really, really good if you eventually want to work in Europe, because a lot of the users for KNIME are in Europe and America. And one of the things that that worries them, surely with open source tools, is like best practices, security, configuration, things like that. So if you see yourself being that person that has, you know what, there's something that's happening with KNIME right now. A lot of companies like KNIME, they like the fact that workflows can be performed faster, but we don't have enough people that are skillful with KNIME. So we're trying to increase the number of people that are able to use KNIME. And I always, every meeting we have, I always say that there's no better place you could find them than in Nigeria, because I am fully amazed with what Nigerians are doing within the analytics space. So if you see yourself, and we don't just want to like take people out of Africa, right? We want companies in Africa to also get solution and data driven, like just get faster turnaround with their analytics solutions. And if KNIME can be that for them, we want them to have the skills and like people in place to get that to happen for them. But yeah, these are the certifications. And I was talking about Data Connect. The KNIME team really wants to be able to come to Africa next year to meet people in person. I know that it's easier for you to sit with someone and listen to them than for you to hear a voice over the computer. So it's easier for us to come down and teach people, help you, even bring your own data, right? So KNIME is not for a specific industry. We have so many success stories across many industries. In Nigeria, currently, we have Deloitte and PwC using KNIME for so many companies. So it's not I work in financial analysis. No, KNIME is beneficial even up to life sciences. You would see people that do chemistry and drug discovery using KNIME as well. That's how robust the tool is. And I also wanted to say there's a KNIME Summit. It's a conference that happens every year. It happens in Texas, and usually community members can come. So if you see yourself coming with us to Texas, it's happening this week, I think. Oh, actually, it happened last week. So the one for this year already happened. But if you see yourself going to Texas next year to join our conference, please keep in touch and we can get started with your skills. So Francisco said, if you're sending to Power BI, how's that data set working? Oh, it's incremental. So you can set the parameters yourself. You can set it as an incremental refresh, or I mean, different people have different use cases, right? But you can set an incremental refresh with KNIME. Like I said, I would really like to be able to come back, bring data that is like specific to Power BI, because I know a lot of people here use Power BI. So Benny, if you can cook something for me, I would really love to be able to show how KNIME and Power BI make a lovely couple. But today I wanted a soft landing to get people introduced to KNIME.
I'll send you the dates so you can come and speak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so there's another question. So Ophelia was asking whether the KNIME, is it like different? Are they like different versions? So you know how Power BI has Power BI service, Power BI desktop, Power BI mobile. So is it like
there are no different versions. Like I said, it's open source. The only thing is for having like a server, a machine running in the background, right? You need KNIME server, but it's not. So for instance, if you have a server that runs on your source from source to destination, and you're using KNIME for maybe your manipulation step, you would not need KNIME server. Most people that I have seen that use KNIME are people who I mean, maybe they did like a cost benefit analysis and they found the KNIME server was cheaper than them like loading up another server within their database for KNIME. So it's a case-to-case basis, but we don't have like then there is actually a KNIME, what's it called now? It's like a web portal. The most users for KNIME web portals are data scientists. So like if you build a model and you wanted to share with maybe your manager or people on your team, you would need KNIME web portal. But in terms of like beginner use cases, no, you would not be needing those ones. So within the KNIME analytics platform, the web desktop version, you can do most of the things you would want to do. Are we getting the workflow, please? Yes. I will make the workflow available on KNIME Hub, and I will export as a, it's called a KNWF, so KNIME workflow. Yeah, I'll make that available as well. And yes, the code to the books, is Data First Africa 20. I think, hold on 1 second. Let me go back and check. It should be Data First Africa 22 or 2022. One of the two. 1 second. Also, I forgot to mention, so after today, I wanted to introduce KNIME to this community. The goal is to have meetup sessions every month. Okay, so I'm going to copy the right code and put it in the chat. So we're going to have meetups every month. This is not the meetup for November. This is just us coming to existing communities to introduce KNIME. We hope to have our meetups the third week of every month. And to help everyone, including myself, get very comfortable with KNIME, we will have the people that work at KNIME reach out to us and take those sessions themselves. But as you learn with KNIME, I think that's one thing I really like about KNIME. You can reach out to them. You can write a blog post. You can even write a blog post about your first experience with KNIME, and reach out to KNIME. So the evangelists on social media are always very welcoming. You can write about KNIME. You can create workflows and share, and they will always be welcoming to feature you on any of their posts. Just expand your knowledge base and help you connect with other people as well. Okay, so if you would like to start with KNIME, let me share my screen again so you can scan the QR code. I created a thread on Twitter that is like very comprehensive, so I think that's the good place to start, but also within the charts now. So if you can please scan this QR code whilst I are you able to scan the QR code? Just give me like a thumbs up in the chart. Yeah. Yes. And then the self-paced. Thank you, Benny. And then the self-paced courses as well. So we have the self-paced courses, and then here you also get the link to the books, the community success stories, example workflows, everything you need. I will say that if you're a data scientist, KNIME is one of like the best things that you can find out there, because honestly, I see a lot of like great stuff from them. And it makes me, right now, I'm considering like, I don't want to be a data scientist. I like being an engineer, but I want to be able to do the sciencey things that they do, because they started off primarily with machine learning, like ML, AI. And one thing I really like is that for every AI solution that they've preferred or discussed with the community, there is always an explainable AI path to it. So we're not just seeing algorithms and smiling, but there's an explanation. And I know there's an explainable AI node within KNIME as well. So it's a lot of great stuff that's happening. And I look forward to having a lot of Nigerians and Africans using KNIME. So I don't have any other questions, I believe.
Okay, so there's so someone asks, so you mentioned that you could add the codes to KNIME workflow, but could you also export that code to maybe VS Code or
Yes.
Jupyter?
So you can so Oh my God, it would be really good to be able to show this as well. So you can export your code to, I think that's one thing for me. KNIME integrates seamlessly with other tools. So you can export your code. You can even the workflow. So KNIME is built on top of Java, I believe. So you can even export the entire like step by step, each step of the node. You can export that as a package and use it elsewhere. It doesn't have to be just within KNIME. But like I said, these things are easier, like it's easier demonstrated than said. So please join the community. These are things that we would love for you to be able to ask the actual, and you know, the people who develop KNIME, they're very available. You can talk to them. They're not like hidden away. You can talk to them, connect with them on the community, ask us many questions. And I also want to say that there are many KNIME communities. There are many KNIME communities on Meetup. So if you don't like the Lagos one yet, because we're not doing a lot, you can join other ones. My first encounter with KNIME was in Brussels, then London, then Milan, then France, then Barcelona. So you can join as many communities as you like. It's just on Meetup. Yeah, you can join as many communities as you like, and you can ask as many questions as you like on the forum and on Meetup as well. So Benny, you said you were going to ask me a question at the end of the session. I genuinely forgotten, and time is not on our side.
Yeah, so I'll ask the question. So I've added the links to the meetups you mentioned. I think there are like
Thank
there are
you.
42 meetups groups,
Yes,
so you
there
can
are.
check them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So next question I wanted to ask was, so how did you get started in data analysis? So maybe just a brief about your journey.
Okay, I stumbled into analytics. I wanted to be a sales analyst, and I needed to learn Microsoft Excel. So I went to learn Excel at this academy. I met some people that work with Python. They got me started. But I think my story is not the typical analytics story because I dabbled a lot until I did my master's. I was in AI Saturdays. That is where I got my introduction to data science. I did a lot of Power BI courses as well. But I think, yeah, going into STEM education and just sitting in the classroom really put a lot of things in perspective to me for me. And I still want to say that I feel like I'm still getting started because every day I'm learning new things and I'm meeting new people that change my perspective on what I've known before.
That's very awesome. Then okay, so those I want to get started. So beside in now, just like in data science or data analytics or data engineering, like is there like any advice you give them? So you have given
Yes.
one within the session, which is like I think that's one of the biggest advice, which is like you should always try your hands or practice as you are
Yeah.
learning. You just learn, like try your hand,
Yeah.
try it out. Yeah. So
Yeah.
are there like any other advice you would like to give them?
Okay. The first advice, I have a 5-step advice, and I think it helps a lot of people. So I'm just going to say it as quickly as possible. The first thing is know the problem. So analytics and technology solves problems. It's not by bar chart or pie chart. It's about the problem and how you solve them. Know the problem, right? And then knowing the problem helps you know who you are because you get to know what skills do you have to solve the problem. And in knowing your skills, you are knowing yourself and knowing your competencies with problem solving, learn the industry and the location. You are, if you can be a fantastic data analyst in Lagos and in England, you're not as celebrated because that's not what the industry needs. So for where you find yourself, know your industry and know what is needed in that industry. So I've gone through 3 steps now. Know the problem, know yourself and your competencies, and know where you want to apply those skills. The third thing is trust in your process, right? I know that a lot of us started our journeys with Coursera, Udemy, all of these things. We spent hours just sitting in front of a screen with a pen and paper. But the best way to learn is to actually define what learning looks like to you. I can speak for myself. I can only allocate 2 hours a day to learning. That's it. I cannot do more than that. So if I'm going to watch a video, read a book, or even attend a webinar, I have to be able to spend just 1 hour ingesting that information and the other hour practicing what I learned. So learn what pace works for you and use that to guide how you learn. Learn purposefully and practice everything you learn. Even if today you only learned that water can sit in a bottle, practice that by pouring water in the bottle. So practice. Benny, I don't know if you can hear me because you're like frozen. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I don't know if Benny can hear me. Can someone just put like a thumbs up in the chart so I know I'm not talking to myself? Oh yeah, thank you. All right, so the fourth thing you want to think about in your journey, actually, this is the fifth thing now. The fifth thing you want to think about in your journey is your community. I think that communities are underrated because sometimes you join a community, it's like 1,000 people, and you're like, what's the benefit of this? Find a community that speaks to you. I think the best communities are communities that have like 3 levels, so beginner, intermediate, advanced. And in those communities, be active, right? Activity does not mean making noise, but it means kind of joining in the conversation and contributing what you know. Never be afraid to share what you know. The other way you can approach community is to have an accountability partner. And I would say that even for me, that is what has kept me going time and time again. I am accountable to one person and we pick ourselves up and ensure that we're succeeding together. So that's the like my 5 steps. First step is know the problem. Second step is know yourself. Not everyone is skilled the same. You might have skills I don't have. So know yourself. One of the best ways to know yourself is to write a letter of motivation to yourself, right? Tell yourself, okay, I am very good at critical thinking, or maybe I'm not good at talking, or maybe I'm not good at colors. But know who you are. And then after that, know where you want to apply your strengths to. Because when you're working, what your employer or your clients see is your strength. That's what you want them to see. You don't want them to see your weaknesses. So know your strengths. And then in knowing your strengths, you know the industry, you know the place you want to apply your strength. Where will you shine best? Where will you make the most impact? And then start to get the skills to make those impacts and have someone you're accountable to, because you will get frustrated, you will be discouraged sometimes. Sometimes you will just be not to discouraging you, but there's no money in your account. So you're just completely off. So just have that thing that keeps you grounded. And then finally, I want to say that because technology is evolving, you will never stop learning. I think that's one thing you should know from the beginning. So beat yourself less, be less critical of yourself, praise yourself more than you criticize yourself. Nobody that you see, myself, all my friends that I used to think that they were next to Jesus when it comes to analytics, when we talk in depth, they tell me I am struggling with XYZ. People struggle. So start letting go of the self doubt early so that you can really appreciate the efforts that you put. And also, I want to use this opportunity to apologize to all beginners that heard that they could become professional data analysts in 3 weeks. That does not happen. It's not true. Those courses are not true. We're very sorry. It's a marathon. You will keep learning. Like before this session, I was just reading this book. I was just reading this book. I have so many books by the side of my desk here that I read. It never ends, honestly. It's just that you get more confident and you can open your mouth and say some things confidently, but you would keep learning because technology is evolving. So I'm rooting for you all. Like I said, you can contact me. Let me put it here again. You can contact me via my contact page on my website. And if you want to book a one-on-one call with me to discuss anything KNIME or non-KNIME related, I am available. Let me see if I can get like the actual link, because that does not look like a link. Maryam. Okay, it's correct. Technology messing with me. Yes, so if you want to talk about anything, career related or otherwise, you can book like just contact me via my contact page, and I will do my best to speak with you. It's not always easy because I have, like I said, I have like my full-time job and I have clients as well. But more importantly, please join the KNIME community. Honestly, I am motivated to do a lot within that community, and there's no community without people. So I look forward to seeing you all at Data Connect next year, hopefully. If you came to Data First, you would know that we brought those swag that finished in 2 seconds. So yeah, you would see some people with our fine KNIME bags. It goes with many outfits. You can even wear it as a shirty. So let's hear from you. Let's meet you, and yes, let's create more opportunities for Africans living in Africa. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much for this session, and hope to see you again. So I sent you the dates. The next available date is in December. So I
When
guess it
in
has to be
December, I
December.
have to be in New York.
Yeah, so it's every Sunday in December is free. Yeah, so December is usually very hard for us because then it's close to the holidays. So
Yeah.
yeah, like hardly get speakers. There's hardly yeah. So yeah, so yeah, I understand because December is always very. I also me
Okay.
too. I didn't get any bag. I didn't get any bag either.
So that's why you people should join our community so we know the accurate number of people to bring swags for next year. We weren't
This
sure
is
this
far.
year. Next year is not far. I remember when we announced Data First, and I was thinking, oh my God, October is so far. And then we've left October. So yes, September is not far. We really look for, and if you're not living in Nigeria and you live outside of Nigeria, please check the meetups. You will definitely find a community. If you don't find a community, join Lagos community, and soon we will get to you. We are working really hard. COVID really affected our meetup groups. We used to be very active, but then with COVID, a lot of people stopped being active. So we're trying to get back now. And we will really like to see you there.
So everybody, so I'm sharing my screen. So thanks so much again for this session, and I hope to you come again for a next session. Okay,
I will.
so next week we have by the same time again we have another session. This session will be under our Power BI performance tuning by Nicholas. So this
Oh yeah, I
so
know him. Like
yeah, so it
not
does this music
personally, just
data.
yeah, yeah.
So it's going to be doing, and we also have another session again with Timmy Dyer next week. We're talking about Power Automate and PostgreSQL data as well in the Excel learning community. So these are the sessions we have for next week. And again,
Okay.
this session, and again the links like so in shall give you with our profile, you can get the links to our LinkedIn, and you can connect with Marian as well as our Twitter. So she's very active on Twitter. So
Not at
again,
the
thank you for this
moment.
session.
Not at the moment, but yes, I am active on Twitter, but not at the moment. All right. Thank you. Thanks everyone. Bye bye. Have a good week.